something to talk to you all about today. It's another one of the things that happened to me and say, yeah, it'd be good to make a video about. All kind of starts with, I ain't run a CB in my truck for quite a while. My squawk box ain't working for a minute. I got it all moved back up, working again, and I'm remembering all the reasons now that I didn't care if I had the thing or not. But this is a talk for a lot of you newer drivers, but a few of you old experienced hands. Now, y'all might want to scoot up a couple rows, pull a chair up and listen to this too. A lot of times y'all are just as at fault. Scale house etiquette. I'm going to preface this with a couple of base beliefs I have that I think one of the big things wrong with trucking today is all 50 states need to go sit in a room somewhere and they need to standardize their weights and measures, how their scale house works, bridge laws, lengths and widths, just all that good shit. Just they need to standardize their rules, because you drive up the East Coast and what's legal in Florida might not be legal in Georgia, but it's also legal in North Carolina, but South Carolina ain't having it. Virginia go tell you to fly a kite, but then Maryland will let you get away with it. And it's just, they need standardized rules. I ain't talking, we don't need to federalize the DOT, God forbid. We just need a standard playbook to run by. And okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now. You get the drift. Well, let's start with the approach to the scale. Every scale I've ever been on in this country, at least a mile before it, it's got a sign saying weigh station 1 mile, weigh station 1.5 miles, blah blah blah. Then usually there'll be another sign saying pre-pass, following cab signals, if they do pre-pass. Some states do, some states don't. Some states do the whole sign on the side of the road, truck must enter weigh station, truck bypass weigh station, like Georgia does, North Carolina does. Okay, you see that sign, get in the right lane, start getting your spacing out right. Don't be right up on the tail of the truck in front of you. And damn sure don't be that guy that runs right up on the scale, thinking in the back of his head, I come this way every day and this scale ain't been open in 7 months. Just as soon as you say that, my God, that green light will be on. Next thing you know, you're trying to cram yourself in between two trucks just as they're going under the pre-pass thing, and you screwed both their pre-passes up. So now they both got to go into scale too, because you was an asshole. Thought you knew better. You know a scale's coming, get in the right lane. Yes, you will have to slow down for a mile. All of maybe 5 miles an hour. Get over it. You go up there and you look up, you see the big word, you jump right back out in that left lane and take off. Well, let's say you don't. Let's say you see the open sign. Oh, before you get there, you go under pre-pass. Let's say, I'll give you two different examples. Let's say you pull under it and it says the scale's closed, but your pre-pass blinks red. Well, unless that scale physically has a gate over the entrance, you have to go on that scale. That's what that whole sign means. It says pre-pass, follow in-cab signals. What that says is no matter what that damn sign says, driver, you get a red light, you come in. You get a green light, you go on. And that's one reason why after you get a green light, that green light blinks for like 20 minutes. And so if you go past that scale, they chase you down, you point up and you pre-pass, I got a green light. But if you get that red light, you have to go in. Okay, so you going in the scale. Let's say speed limit to scales, let's just say 40 mile an hour. I'm going to do a whole lot of Virginia in this because that's where I was yesterday when I got reminded to make this video. That doesn't mean you have to be doing 40 mile an hour 500 foot before you even cross over into the exit ramp. That means you cross that line at highway speed, then you slow down. And that's just like cloverleaf exits, whatever. People say, ain't enough room, brother. Them engineers did their homework. There's enough room for you to slow down without slowing down out the freaking highway and causing all kinds of problems. So you get off, you slow down to their stated speed, 40 miles an hour. You bebobbing up through there, keep your distance, keep your because you run up on somebody's bumper, you know, they're going slow or something, you run up on their bumper, all that's going to do is get you both put on the scale. And you won't irritate old Rocky Raccoon in there, and that's just a bad idea. So, you be bobbing up through there, you'll get your picture took. Generally, the camera flash. You get your picture took. You get on up through there. The next thing you go over is a rollover scale. They're just metal plates in the road, maybe 6 inches wide or deep, and 36 inches wide. They're one for each side of your truck. Spot them, you can't miss them. The whole key to them rollover scales is rollover. You coast over them. Don't slap your brakes on them. Don't be on the gas pedal on them. Don't have your Jake brake on. Because that'll spike them scales. Put on the scale. You want those things to give, as long as you're legal, you want to give a pretty accurate weight. That way he bypasses it. he tells you to get on the scale. He's on over in that lane, and you get in line to get on the scale. Next thing you're going to come up to is you're going to come up to a stop sign before the scale. Now, I don't care if you're the only truck out there or if you're in a line of trucks. You stop at that stop sign. That stop sign's there to protect the scale. And so you don't spike that scale by jumping on it at speed or slamming your brakes or whatever. That's why that stop sign's there, is to protect that scale. Come to a full stop. If there's a truck on the scale, you wait till he's completely off it. His last axle's left the scale before you start moving. You start easing up, you ease on that scale. Now at that point, you're either going to have a red light or a green light at the end of that scale. And if it's a red light, you come up to that, you get your tire truck on the scale, and you ease to a stop. Don't be mad because you on the scale and slam on your brakes. Or whatever, because all you're going to do, you're going to piss off old Rocky Raccoon in there. And he is going to turn into Super Trooper. And there's no way that ends well for you. He's going to break it off in you. And another thing is, you pull up on the scale, always roll your window down. Especially if you got the red light, because a lot of times he'll never turn that light back green. He'll just get on the speaker and say, "Go on, driver," or "You're a good driver." If you don't hear him and you sit on that scale, once again, you're going to irritate Mr. DOT in there, and it's never good. So you get the green light. He tells you can go on. You're legal. Ease off that scale. And you really don't throw down on that go pedal until your last axles are off that scale. Because you think you got your drives off that scale and you slam on the gas. Think what happens in a car when you hit the gas pedal. Ass end drops. You just spiked his scale. And if you don't think he won't come out of that scale house and chase you down and give you what for, if you think you're free and clear, hide and watch. That man lives to chase truckers down. I say you get the red light, you get your window rolled down, and well, you done screwed up. You didn't weigh the truck beforehand, or you did, thought you'd get away with it. It says you go on around back, driver. Get your permits and paperwork, bring them in. Well, that's just what you do. He's on around back. Grab your permit book. You grab any relevant paperwork, your bills. If you got a CAT scale ticket showing you're legal, you can grab it. Probably ain't gonna do you a whole hill of beans worth of good, but it's worth a shot. You go bebop your ass up in that scale, and when You walk through the door of that scale house, you remember everything your mama taught you about respect. Don't walk in there with your ass on your shoulders. Like I said, there is no way that ends well for you. You go in there and yelling and screaming and hooting and hollering about how they've done held your day up. Screw the police and all that mess. There just ain't no way that ends well for you. You go in there and you yes sir and yes ma'am. Then when they finish their spiel about why they brought you around back, you may not be overweight. They may just brought you around back because they want to look at your paperwork, or they saw something on your truck. After they give your spiel, respectfully, you say, well, sir, what if, blah, blah, blah. You give them your side of the story. And like I say, it may help, probably won't. But do it in a respectful way, and y'all can have an exchange like two adults. And this can go the other way, where you're the adult and the DOT officer's not. I'll tell you a little story about that when this is done. But because if you go in there and you act like an adult, I use Virginia as an example again. A lot of times he'll look at your scale and say, drivers, can you slide an axle or something? Make this legal? Why, yes sir, I can. And he'll say, well, you going out there and you slide them axles and going back across my scale, and if you're legal, I'll give you a green light. So you go out there, you adjust your axles, you be back across his scale, he gives you a green light, you're gone. Didn't cost you nothing but a little bit of time. Missed a step. The whole reason about the CB thing. When you use it in that scale, a lot of times you have to adjust your distance because you can't be right up on somebody's ass because it'll screw up the system. And to get everybody put on the scale. There's got to be spacing in between trucks. That's why almost every scale I can think of has a sign out there that says maintain 100-foot spacing between trucks. Sure enough, you're slowing down, speeding up. Speed limit's 40 mile an hour scale, but you can't do it. The guy in front of you is doing 30, so you gotta ease up to make space. So you might even get down to like 25, slowing down to make that gap. Sure enough, as soon as that happens, some Billy Big Rigger will get on his bitch box. Speed limit in the scale is 40 mile an hour, driver. 40 mile an hour, pick it up. Bunch of dumbasses don't know what the hell they doing. They will. Trust me. Or when you get up to the rollover scales. Virginia as an example again because they're bad for this. Some states, this is all computerized. You go to rollover scales, as long as you meet certain parameters, like you don't have an axle weight over 33.5, or your gross weight's not over 79.5, or your bridge ain't so much, or blah blah. You do a bunch of parameters they can set on the scale to tell you whether you bypass or get on the scale. Not in Virginia. In Virginia, they got some rookie officer up in there. They have left the enormous responsibility of that decision up to him. So you cross the rollover scales, and he's got to sit there and look at everything and decides whether he wants to put you on the scale or bypass you. Sometimes that takes a little time. If you go be popping across those rollover scales at 40 miles an hour, you'll be plumb up underneath them lights before he ever throws one. And if he throws the scale light and you go down the bypass lane and you don't think he won't chase you down to give you what for, once again, hide and watch. He will chase you down. And the fact you were going too fast to see the lights is not going to be a viable excuse. But as soon as you slow down and go with the rollover scales at 40, slow down to 30 because the light ain't changed yet. He ain't giving you a signal yet. There he comes. 40 mile an hour, driver. Bunch of dumbasses don't know what the hell they're doing. Gotta go 40 mile an hour, driver. At that point, I just reach up there and turn it. Very few scales that I've been to. The only ones, like the ones in Kentucky, that are 10 miles an hour, or North Carolina that are 10 mile an hour. Yeah, those, you run 10 mile an hour across those. But all these scales that are 30, 40 mile an hour, you never run the speed limit across those scales. It's impossible. The system won't let you hardly do it. But you'll get some Billy Big Rigger behind you that insists you can. And but yeah, I'll just leave that at that. Like I say, you done been around the back of the scale. He lets you go on. Now when he pull out of that scale and he lets you pull back, you got to pull back out in traffic. Wait till you have a gap big enough to fit your ass in. Don't just figure, oh, hey, some bitches ain't doing but 20 mile an hour. I can just jump out there. They got brakes. Because as soon as you do, it's like a slinky effect on the whole scale, and you disrupt the flow of that scale. And once again, you have your attendant Rocky Raccoon. He will come after you. And I will giggle why he does it, because you deserved it, asshole. There's a whole lot of truck drivers out here got to come to the realization that DOT officer's just trying to do a job. Plain and simple, he's just trying to do a job. A lot of times that job don't even pay that much. When he tries to do his job, the thing drivers got to learn is they quit getting angry about it. Getting angry because that guy's trying to do his job. Now, we all have bad days. We all lose our temper. I did here in Kentucky a while back. I got pulled over and inspected by one Kentucky state trooper. Went 8 miles down the road and got pulled over by another one wanting to do a random. When he opened up my right hand door over there, that's one other hint when they pull you over. Don't have a bunch of garbage over there in your right hand floorboard. They're gonna come to your right hand door a lot of times, just for their own safety. He opened up that right hand door, and I said, "Y'all just a bunch of damn vultures." He kind of laughed and asked me what I was talking about. I told him, also, I just got pulled over. I said, "Probably ain't in your system yet. Guy probably ain't finished typing." And he kind of laughed. He said, "No, sorry, driver. You have a nice day," and he let me go. But he could have been an asshole. And gave me a whole level 1 right there on the side of the road. There ain't no rule said they can't. But he's just trying to do his job, just like I'm trying to do my job. But every once in a while you will run across one. When I first started driving in Georgia, they put me in. The first time I ever had been put on a scale. I went around back, and all they had was a little platform scale. And there's a stop sign. So I went up to the platform scale and I stopped. Had my window down. That Georgia State Trooper come out that damn scale house. Talking about, "You're supposed to stop when your steer axle on the scale, you dumbass truck driver." "Excuse me?" He said, you heard me. Get your damn steer axle on that scale." I could approach that 2 ways. I could have bowed up too, and we could have rolled around out behind that scale house. Probably wouldn't have ended well for me. Might not have ended well for him, but it probably wouldn't have ended, damn sure wouldn't have ended well for me. But I figured be the bigger man. Yes, sir. Got up on his scale. Then they have you walk forward. Pull forward, driver. Pull forward to your drive axle on the scale. Pull forward, driver. Steer axles or tandems on the scale. At that point, he's going to tell you, "You good, driver? Go on," or "Go around back." Those were a little bit different times. I haven't run into a DOT officer like that since. Everyone I've run into since has been pretty respectful. Like I say, it's just a guy trying to do a job. And last thing he needs is you making his job harder. Because he has the power, if you make his job hard, to make your life hard. You don't think so? Try him. I just want to make that video today. I thought it'd be a good thing that people need to learn, and maybe thought it'd answer some questions about because every state you go into, the scales are different. They operate differently. Their rules are different. If you have any questions, down in the comments below, put them up. Like and subscribe if you would.